There's no place like home for the holidays, and no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsdon.
And I'm Jeff Searcy.
Or as we're known on KPUN, Dingus and the Hog. Coming to you live at 9 and 10 on the AM dial.
Live.
We got ladies taking their tits out.
Sweet!
Yeah, if someone wants to pay for Jeff and I to run a morning radio show.
Morning Zoo Crew. Here on 97.3 The Fox.
That's our demo tape, so we can get out of the podcast game and into the dying radio industry.
Let's jump on another hot industry. That way we can get canceled for something we say.
But while we wait for those offer letters to roll in, let's talk about this week's movie. We watched 2019's Holiday Hell, so let's set the scene. We'll deck the halls.
Indeed.
I had seen this movie on Tubi, like in the recommended queue a couple times. I'd never watched it, and after we watched it, I certainly bought a copy. So that kind of tells you at least early on what we thought of the movie.
Right.
This is an anthology movie, so very similar to 13 Slays. Other movies we'll get to later.
Indeed.
Biggest star of the movie, Jeffrey Combs.
Oh yeah, you gotta have some Jeffrey Combs.
He's been in everything?
I mean, so many things. I mean, I know him best as Wayoon on Deep Space Nine.
I was gonna say, Herbert West on Reanimator. He's in I think he's in a Dunwich Horror movie. He's also in From Beyond. Did a lot of H.P. Lovecraft work. I think is in Castle Freak 2.
Yes.
Not Castle Freak 2, Castle Freak also.
Yes, Castle Freak also.
I don't think there is a Castle Freak. Oh, there is a remake of Castle Freak.
Yes, Castle Freak also is actually the third movie in the series.
My favorite Jeffrey Combs performance is probably as The Question in Justice League Unlimited.
Yes, that is good.
Where there's he has a line where he's like, those little ends on your shoelaces? They're called aglets, and their purpose is sinister, or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably second biggest star is Joel Murray, who plays Pete on Dharma and Greg.
And if you're going, who? Don't worry, I did too.
Tons of other stuff. But when we were watching it, I'm like, boy, that guy seems like the guy on Dharma and Greg. But I'm like, but he looks super old. Never mind that Dharma and Greg is about 20 years old at this point.
Oh no, are we super old?
I would say a bigger named cast than our last anthology, 13 Slaves Till Xmas.
Yes, I mean, you got Jeffrey Combs in there, so.
With, most of these actors getting pretty consistent work. I kind of looked through their IMDb, and they'd all been in quite a few things, but I don't think we will see any of them again in any of our other Christmas horror movies. Unlike 13 Slaves, which had, 2 pages worth of people who appear in other Christmas horror movies.
Pretty much like a who's who of Christmas horror.
Yeah, I think distributed by Uncorked Entertainment,
yes.
And then produced by Black Sunday Productions, which on IMDb, this is the only thing Black Sunday Productions has produced.
Ah, what a shame.
Do you have anything else?
I just wanted to say Jeff Farrell, I don't know how he pronounces his name, but I was looking for other stuff he has done because I figured since he had directed so well, he does a little bit of a spoiler. He directs The Hand That Rocks the Dreidel. And I thought that was one of the strongest ones. But he really hasn't done a whole lot else. He had a couple other small movies, but other than that, he really hasn't done much. I
saw there was one guy, I think it was an actor. I don't have his name written down. Has done a lot of stuff with Dan Harmon. I think had done stuff with Rick and Morty, had done stuff with Harmon Quest.
Yeah.
But hadn't been in Dan Harmon's greatest achievement, the pinnacle of American television, Community. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, he's got some Dan Harmon connections at least.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, not a whole lot of people you're gonna know. But I honestly, in a movie like this, I don't think that really hurts it too much.
No, not at all. And because this is an anthology, as we've mentioned, we're going to tackle it the same way we did 13 Slays, where Jeff and I will each take a couple of the stories, and we'll kind of take the reins, and then we'll kind of come back and talk about the framing device, which we'll kind of mention here at the beginning. We'll talk about that at the end. So we start off our synopsis. We get our production company logo for Black Sunday Productions. Looked very festive.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of cheap Christmas music. A lot of very old Christmas music I saw in the credits. I want to say early 1900s recordings for some of them. So really old songs used, but I mean, it certainly feels festive. There's a lot of moments where like you get jingle bells playing in the background and stuff like that. And I think some people wrote their own Christmas music for it, and it sounded pretty good. But yeah, we get this very festive logo and then a very festive title card. Holiday Hell.
Hell for the holidays.
And it's got I want to say like the Y in holiday is a menorah, and
there's like the Michael Myers style like kitchen butcher knife for the eye.
Yeah, like one of the L's is like a candy cane and stuff like that. And then I think the O in holiday is a heart.
Yeah.
So we get our framing device, the Never Told Casket Company, Antiques and Curiosities.
The old, I need a last minute gift for my weirdo sister.
Yep. Amelia walks into the store and meets the shopkeeper, Jeffrey Combs. She tells him, I think it's the night before Christmas Eve. She tells Jeffrey Combs' character that she wants to get a gift for her unusual sister, an unusual Christmas gift for her unusual sister.
Yes.
And Jeffrey Combs tells her about how all the items in his store have a story attached to them.
What a coincidence. Everything I own is unusual.
Yep. No, I don't know that I could sell anything here unless you've got a good story to go along with it or something like that.
You know what it really reminded me of instantly? The episode of Rick and Morty where the devil opens that shop.
Yeah, very similar. So basically, he's going to tell, as she picks items in the store, he's going to tell her the story behind the item. So the first item we get this weird mask that starts our story, Dollface.
Dollface. Am I pretty, Jay?
Am I pretty? We see it starts off, we see a Chucky head get run over by a tire of a car. And then like 5 girls and 1 guy get out. They're all going to have a party. There's supposed to be more guys showing up later.
We're going to have lots of guys.
They go into an abandoned house for a big Valentine's Day party. They call the house the Inferno because it gets hot in there.
It's hot in there. It's spicy.
But also because the house is abandoned, there's no running water or electricity.
Oh yeah, no running water. Just the place I want to fuck.
The guy in the house tells everybody the story of the house, how Ken and Barb Doll.
Oh yeah.
Used to own the house until they were murdered one Valentine's Day Barb murdered Ken.
Yes.
One Valentine's Day.
And her son. Yep. And their 2 daughters were sent to like the crazy house for girls. But yeah, one Valentine's Day she chopped up her son, and the daughters went. After she went crazy, no one knows what happened to the girls since that moment. Everyone's lost track of them. But we'll find out.
The guy then convinces his girlfriend to go into a room that was clearly one of the daughters' rooms because there's a bunch of like children's toys still in it.
Yep.
Because he wants them to touch on each other's bodies.
Oh yeah. You know you want me to touch on that body, baby.
She then leaves to go get a drink, and we see him kind of looking around the room. The second they walk in, there's this creepy mask, the mask we saw at the beginning, like in the framing device. We see it like sitting in like a pile of clothes or like closet section. We just see the mask there, but he's walking around, and then he like gets up and he goes to move the mask, and the eyes open, and it cuts away real fast. All the party goers split up. Like 2 of them go downstairs. One of the girls is mute. I don't know that that's important, but she's kind of our main character.
Yep.
But the girl that was with the guy earlier returns and can't find him. We then see as she, like, the door to the room, like, slowly closes behind her. We see the creepy doll face
What a weirdo.
mask, like, standing behind her. And it takes, like, the leg out of a Barbie doll
Yeah.
and then stabs her in the neck with it.
Death by Barbie leg.
We then cut down to the basement where two of the girls had split up. And it seemed like they were having a pretty good time. And one of them kisses the other, and the one that got kissed storms off and leaves and is kind of a real bitch about the whole situation.
I am not a lesbian.
And then two more guys arrive.
Just what we needed, more guys.
And the friend of the mute girl, like, kind of goes off with one of the guys.
Yep.
And I don't know, there's some kind of joke in there where they're getting ready to fuck, and she starts going down on him, and then he loses his head while he's getting head.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some kind of joke in there. I don't know what it is, but there's some kind of joke in there. The lesbian girl is in the basement. She's still drinking, and the lights flicker, and then she gets kind of jumped from behind. The mute girl, the other guy, the guy that arrived with the guy who just got decapitated, he tries to put the moves on her. She's not interested. She storms off. He then sees the girl with the doll face.
Yes.
And he kind of says something to her. We get a really cool scene where, like, he goes to take a drink of beer, and she, like, shoves the bottle, like, back into his mouth and kills him.
Well, I'd say I think she's facing away from him, and he's like, "Oh, you're pretty." It's like, "You'll do," basically. And I was just rejected by the other girl.
Yeah, and she keeps saying, like, pretty.
Pretty? You think
And then,
I'm pretty?
And then she turns around, really cool effect with his bottle, like, shoved back into his mouth. The mute girl goes outside and is kind of, ready to leave, can't find anybody, looks into one of the other cars and sees the girl that stormed off earlier with, like, her throat slashed.
Yep.
Goes back into the house, finds like one of the guys dead. I think maybe finds like one of the girls dead. Runs down, goes to run downstairs, is attacked by the girl with the doll face. They have a big fight where she, like, slashes at her with a knife.
Yep.
And, they kind of battle back and forth. And I want to say, like, a couple times, like, the girl with the doll mask gets the upper hand. Mm-hmm. Then eventually the mute girl is able to, like, overpower her, and she takes, like, some chains and starts, like, beating her with them.
Yeah.
Fights and eventually, kills, or I guess we're led to believe kills the doll-faced girl.
She seems to be dead.
And that's when the BJ girl shows back up.
Yeah.
Revealing that her name is China Doll. She's Dollface's older sister. And they were doing this to get revenge on those that had wronged them.
Somehow.
And she thought the mute girl was different because she was also weird like they were.
Yeah, I mean, not really. But
they're all really strangely mean to this girl who can't talk.
I was going to say, I don't know that being mute is exactly strange like these other two girls.
Right, like... But, like, all the people are very mean to her, and it's like, she can't talk. It's not a big deal.
The writing in this one is super weak, so it's really hard.
And she then gets the shovel girl, then, like, I think swings the shovel at the mute girl, and then we cut to black, and that's the end of our dollface story. And so Jeff's gonna take over for the hand that rocks the dreidel.
Let me just say, dollface, woof. Woof, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the weakest of the four.
That's rough.
Chewy?
Okay. The hand that rocks the dreidel. So we go back to our framing device. Jeffrey comes like, "Oh, not interested in the doll face, huh? Well, how about this weird little rabbi puppet thing?" And that's when we get into the hand that rocks the dreidel. So two parents, Stan and Janet, they're buying their son a gift for Hanukkah.
Damn it, Janet.
It's the last day of Hanukkah, so they want to give him something super special. And so he opens this little rabbi doll that's supposed to be an antique from Germany. And the son is less than impressed with the gift to begin with. Then basically they announce, like, 2 seconds afterwards that we are now leaving on a business trip, son.
It's the last night of Hanukkah, and we're leaving.
So we're getting out of here because we can't stand to be around you. As most rich parents can't stand to be around their kids. So we've hired hot as fuck babysitter Lisa to come watch you. And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cool." And
all right, I think he seems indifferent. We can kind of tell. This kid's a pretty good actor, I think.
Yeah, he's one of the stronger actors in this thing.
And he does a good job of, like, don't you like Lisa? Yeah, she's fine. Like, you can tell, like, it's one of probably his least favorite babysitter that he's had, but he knows not to rock the boat.
And so, of course, Lisa gets in there and immediately, you know, essentially with the parents, like, right outside the front door, is Lisa gets on the phone and she's plotting with her boyfriend, Trey, to rob the entire house. And she's like, oh, yeah, I've been babysitting this little asshole for like 3 months so we could get in here and do this. And, of course, the big joke is that her boyfriend she's going to run away with, Trey, is getting blown by some other girl while he's on the phone with her.
And Trey looks like early career John Cena.
Oh, Trey looks like, oh, he's so cool.
Trey looks like
he's got
Fred Durst.
He's got the sideways bucket hat. He's got the gold chain. He's got everything.
He's anyone here saw Superstore? He's like Chanel's boyfriend from Superstore.
Yeah, he is. You're definitely, you called that very early era John Cena.
Yep. Dr. Thugonomics era John Cena.
And so, yes, basically they lay out their entire plan with Kevin overhearing the entire thing. And so she sees him and she's like, oh, you little asshole, spying on me even though I'm taking no effort to hide this at all.
Literally talking at the top of my lungs
Yes.
as I'm walking through your house.
I'm gonna lock your ass in your bedroom for this one. So she, of course, locks him up in his bedroom, but what she doesn't realize is she's locked him up with the powerful doll. And so basically he finds a scroll inside the doll's box because he's bored, trapped in his room. And he's like, oh, this is kind of cool. Apparently he can read the scroll. Reads it aloud, which I was kind of wondering, I couldn't really see the scroll. Is it written in Hebrew? Or
I think it's implied to be written in Hebrew.
I was going to say, or would it have been written in German since that's where it was made? It's like, how does he know how to speak German?
No, I think it's implied to be written in Hebrew.
But yes, he reads the spell and brings the doll to life. It's kind of like the golem trope, basically. Imbuing an inanimate object with life to seek vengeance or whatever. And so it comes to life. Then he's basically like, can you help me? And it does its creepy little doll nod like, oh yeah. Oh, I can help you, Kevin. They all float down here. Kevin! And so Lisa hears weird noises. Oh yeah, Lisa is the girl babysitter, by the way, if I didn't mention that already. She hears weird noises, so of course she grabs a knife. and Trey apparently has entered the house without her knowing, sneaks up behind her, she turns and literally like stabs him in the throat and kills him.
Yep.
In one fluid motion like she's a Navy SEAL.
She literally spins around and the knife goes right into his neck.
Like a perfect kill. So yeah, Trey's dead now. Just in case anybody was wondering.
R.I.P. Trey.
Yes. And so the doll pulls a little Chucky move and slashes her ankle and hobbles her. And then she falls down a staircase and breaks her neck. All the action happens really quickly in this one.
It felt like to be one of those like she fell down the staircase longer than
Yes.
anything else happened in the movie.
Definitely more stairs than should have been on that staircase. And so Kevin's like to the little rabbi doll, he's like, can you take care of these bodies? He's like, oh, you know I can. I'm going to stage this like a murder-suicide. So he drags the bodies out to the car and stages them. Cause
we get a great scene where like we see Trey's body being dragged like behind a corner and and the legs are really low to the ground, implying that like
the doll
is pulling it.
Yeah. And then his parents come back and they're like, oh, wow, it seems things went okay, Kevin. And it's like, oh, yes, of course. And then, of course, he's got his little guardian or whatever. And then you go back to the framing device and Jeffrey Combs is like, that's the story he told his parents years later. It's like, 1, why? 2, the parents believed him. 3, why would they ever get rid of that doll?
Yep.
It's like a guardian for the family. But whatever. I thought this was one of the strongest entries in this entire thing. This was the one that was directed by Jeff Farrell. And this is one of the reasons I went to look for other stuff he's done. Because it's like, if he did this well with this tiny budget, I wanted to see what else he's done.
The one thing I would have done, I guess I could mention it later, but I'm going to mention it now, is when when Lisa and Trey were then staged in their car, I would have had the girl that was blowing Trey at the beginning of the movie walk back up and be like, Trey, what the fuck? And then she sees them both dead in the car and she runs away screaming. I would have done that. I think that would have been so good.
I think you mentioned that while we were watching it. Now, the main thing that really stuck out like a sore thumb to me in this is they're robbing this house for supposedly millions of dollars in cash and jewels and things, and this place just looks like completely bare.
I think she says, like, the artwork alone is worth is worth $1 million,
like
and there's no artwork on the walls.
They rented this mansion clearly for like one day to film, and it's like they did not try to decorate it at all. Probably just because they didn't have the budget. I think pretty much the whole budget must have went to the puppet effects, which were really well done. Like, I mean, the best thing I could probably compare it to would be like the Puppet Master series. Mm-hmm. But it's well done, and I'd say the guy who played Kevin, well, I guess the kid who played Kevin, was, I think, one of the best actors in this whole thing.
No, I agree with that. So then we get back to our framing device. Jeffrey Combs is like, oh, well, if you don't like the rabbi doll, what about this bloody Santa outfit that I have staged in the...
Sweet.
in the middle of my store. Just this Santa outfit just covered in blood. And we get the story, Christmas Carnage. Our character Chris, who's played by Pete from Dharma and Greg, gets home and is on the phone with somebody. We learn that he's 1 year sober. And then his wife's really pissed at him. His wife Susan is really pissed at him that he missed a dinner.
Yeah.
She's a real asshole. She instantly
God.
She is an asshole.
You honestly understand why it doesn't take much to make this guy a murderer.
She ridicules him for not getting the promotion at work, ridicules him for his weight. The reason he's gained weight is because he's trying to cope with, not drinking.
And also implies that he's terrible at sex.
Yep, and she's so disgusted with him. And I think at one point, like Pete, I'm just going to keep calling him Pete and Chris interchangeably. Yeah, okay. And he's like, honey, we don't even make love anymore. And she's just so disgusted with him like, even saying that
Get
word.
Away from me, you fucking pig.
And forces him to go sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
The next morning, he's woken up by his daughter, Chrissy, who's going to be staying with a family friend tonight because the big Christmas party is going to happen at work. We learned that about a year ago was when Chris basically decided to become sober because at last year's Christmas party he made a big fool of himself.
Oh man, an embarrassing photo of Chris at the Christmas party.
Hey, hopefully no one pulls the secret string in the secret box.
Oh man.
But yeah, Susan asks him if he plans on drinking tonight. He says he's not going to. So then at work, Chris is on the phone. We learn that he's kind of a pharmaceutical sales rep. Yeah, and sells a thing called Blue Sunshine, which I think is a reference to the movie Blue Sunshine.
See, it's implied that he's struggling a little bit, I think.
But yeah, he goes in to talk to his boss, Mr. Donaldson. Mr. Donaldson is like, Chris, you're a good employee. You just need to work a little harder. I know you've been here longer than
fucking Tom.
But Tom's just, is just a better salesman. And, but if you just keep at it, you'll get that promotion.
It's not bad enough that Tom is better looking than me, sells more drugs than me, and is cucking me. He also had to get the promotion.
Yeah. And also he mentions that there's this new experimental drug and he wants Chris to try and sell it.
I mean, he casually drops, oh yeah, I've been sampling our new experimental drug
and he's
to
like,
get fucked up.
He's like, oh yeah, I took this new experimental drug I took 2 pills and a shot of whiskey and I zoned out and watched TV for like 8 hours.
He watched Static. I like to believe that that's how pharmaceutical executives really are.
And then once again, it's kind of brought up to Chris, like, oh, you're not gonna ruin the Christmas party like you did last year.
You're never gonna get promoted acting like a fool at the Christmas party, Chris.
Which I then thought it was really funny that it's supposed to be a professional Christmas party, and then they're walking into the Christmas party, and it says like Triple Xmas Christmas party.
Oh my god, it's like people groping each other, making out at the party.
At the party, Chris is dressed as Santa, and he keeps watching his wife Susan talk with Tom. And then at one point, while he's like talking to one of the people at the Christmas party, talking to a lady at the Christmas party, who's kind of like, Santa, are you going to put any coal in my stocking this Christmas? And he's like, only if you've been naughty. And she's like, well, I've been a little naughty, Santa. While that's all going on,
gag me with a spoon.
Susan sneaks off with Tom, and Chris kind of follows after them, and we hear the sounds of them fucking.
Oh, they're fucking. Not only are they fucking, Susan looks over her shoulder right at him and is like, ha, I'm fucking.
Makes eye contact with him while she's doing it. Chris then goes to a bar.
I mean, at this point, why not drink again?
Yeah, and gets a drink. And then he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out those pills and he thinks about what his boss told him.
Mr. Donaldson, so these will get me fucked up.
And so he like takes like a bunch of the pills and starts drinking. And we get this like low hum. I think we get like jingle bells playing, and then like over the jingle bells we get kind of a, and it like kind of like building up to like you know, kind of like pressure in your ears.
Starting to hear the background hum of the universe.
And at first, you know, it makes Chris really jolly,
Yeah.
and he's like laughing and having a drink with another patron, and then at some point I think he says something like, you know what? Fuck you and fuck Cleveland. I don't know what that's a reference to, but then the bartender
really hates Ohio.
The bartender pisses or kicks him out, and it pisses Chris off so much that he starts peeing on the floor.
Yes.
And then the bartender kind of chases him out with a baseball bat, and Chris starts like talking to himself.
Well, it's kind of like the pills have like given his inner voice like the power to speak to him.
Mm-hmm. And so he starts arguing with like his inner monologue.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "What are you talking about?" And Chris just grabs the baseball bat and just starts beating the bartender with it. And then he like looks across the street and sees like an all-night hardware store open.
Yeah.
So he like walks across the street, and then we see him like dragging his Santa's sack behind him, like full of tools.
Oh yeah. Mr. Donaldson is gonna get fucking murdered. That's what's gonna happen.
Back at the party, Mr. Donaldson and his secretary are getting ready to get it on.
Oh, Mr. Donaldson, do I have to work late?
Oh, I got something long and hard for you, secretary. And Chris then like shows up and basically is like, "Mr. Donaldson, this isn't office appropriate."
Exactly.
And chops off Mr. Donaldson's hand before he calls the secretary a buzzkill and throws a buzzsaw into the back of her head.
Classic. I love it.
And then he says it's full of like, we get like a run of puns here.
Yes.
Where he's like,
It's my favorite thing.
where he's like, "Oh, well, Mr. Donaldson, how about we bury the hatchet?" Before he like starts axing Mr. Donaldson.
I asked him a question.
And then we see Tom snorting coke off of a topless woman's breasts.
Yes.
Not
Susan, I don't think.
No, and the topless woman gets up to go answer the door because they kind of hear some commotion, and she takes a hoe to the face.
Ironic.
And then he says, he kind of approaches Tom and he's like, "You didn't think it was enough to steal my promotion? You're also nailing my wife? Well, I guess it's fine that I nail you." And then lodges 18 nails into Tom's dick.
Ah, God.
And the reason it's 18 is he's like, "You're gonna get your 18 holes in." And,
because from the golf thing earlier.
Earlier, Tom and Mr.
Donaldson are gonna go play golf.
Yep.
You know, we're both, whatever. I don't even know what this relationship is supposed to be. It's like, is Mr. Donaldson these guys' boss?
Mr. Donaldson is the worst manager I think
like
I've ever seen.
He's literally taking experimental drugs and talking about his next golf outing while he's supposed to be working.
The next morning, Susan, and so then we cut to the next morning. Chris is back asleep on the couch, and Susan chews out Chris for drinking, and she can smell it from there.
The nerve on this woman just criticize him.
After making eye contact him while fucking someone else.
Oh, you were drinking last night?
Susan then goes off to find the Santa suit because he still has to dress as Santa for their daughter.
Yep. This is when Chris decides to take matters into his own hands and pop a couple more of those
pills. I think
pills.
he takes all the pills out of the bottle. And then Susan finds the suit. It's like covered in blood. She pulls her hand away in confusion and then criticized Chris for getting hammered earlier. Turns around and Chris has a ball peen hammer and he just starts bashing her brains in while he says ho ho ho.
Ah, so great. We
then go back to our framing device. The whole kind of time that this has been going on, Jeffrey Combs has said to Amelia a couple times, like, "You look familiar," or said something about like, "Oh, that ring you have, that looks familiar."
Yes.
And then Amelia says something like, "Oh, this ring has a more interesting story than anything in this shop."
Yes.
And that's how we get our fourth story, Room to Let.
Room to Let. Why, what a coincidence! You would be admiring my ring. So basically, Room to Let is, if you've ever seen anything like Sam Hain, I think this is supposed to be the Halloween themed one or the harvest time one.
I think it's implied to be a winter festival. I think it's
festival,
like a Yuletide festival.
Well, it's to say the whole sacrificing with the scythe and all that. I figured they were trying to imply like the harvest festival.
No, there's a throwaway line where whoever our female protagonist is, she's like
Anna.
She says, "Oh, it's not very Christmassy here," and they're like, "Oh, well, we don't celebrate Christmas around here."
Well, they're sacrificing to some sort of winter spirit. But yes, so basically Anna rents a remote farmhouse room, which why would you do this in the first place? Have you never seen a horror movie before?
I don't know, it's $50 a month. Like, I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
I mean, another red flag. But yeah, I mean, when you're renting from someone named Lavinia too, I mean, come on now, people. Be a little careful. This is not an Airbnb you should book. But yeah, so Anna's renting a room. Lavinia and her husband Robert are having dinner with her, which again is kind of weird. It's like, oh yes, come to dinner with us, person renting our upstairs room. But
here, have a tall glass of milk.
Yes. Oh God, that was so creepy. The people they cast as Lavinia and Robert were perfectly cast to be creepy weirdos. I'll just say that. But this is when Anna first notices the ring on Lavinia's finger. Later that night, Anna's kind of looking out of her rented room window, and she can see like a bunch of townspeople gathered outside with like torches, like they're doing some kind of weird ritual.
I was gonna say, so it looks like they've got tiki torches, so it's some kind of Unite the Right rally.
Where we go one, we go all. But no, it looks like they're doing some kind of weird ritual outside, which, you know, at that point, a normal person would be like, well, this was a nice room and dinner for $50, but I think I must be moving on now. But not Anna. She decides to stay. And next day she like kind of wanders into town and people are kind of looking at her like, who is this outsider? An outsider in our midst. Another bad sign. You never want to go to a small town and everybody's staring at you.
Every single person like walks by and just glares at
like
her.
You're an alien or whatever that just walked into their midst. But she, naturally, she's had such a warm reception here. She wants to apply for a job in the local store. And I think the guy's name is Ned.
I think so,
But
yeah.
yes, she notices, oh wow, Ned has the same weird ring as Lavinia does. I mean, this doesn't scream cult to anybody else. Basically, she's in there, she notices the ring, and Ned has an employee named Shelly. And it's like very clear, if you had even like one brain cell, that Shelly is saying like, get out of here, run, leave immediately.
But Shelly's had her tongue ripped out.
She's had her tongue cut, so she can't talk. And warn Anna, even though, I mean, clearly if you had any, well, obviously Anna doesn't, because she would have left town by now. But it's like, yeah, she's very clearly trying to tell you to get out while you still can.
No, the town's great. All the, you know, there's no weird meetings going on in the shed behind
no weird
Robert
meetings.
Lavinia's house.
No weird meetings in the middle of the night. No weird matching rings on everybody's fingers. So naturally, Anna goes home, having secured her new job at the store, and is immediately captured. And the Lavinia and Robert are leading like the whole group of townspeople, and they reveal that they're in a cult. Which, oh wow, yeah, shocking. they're in a cult, and they're gonna sacrifice Anna basically so that they can use her spirit to have a baby. And so, naturally, to sacrifice her, they behead her with a scythe. Which, I mean, looked pretty good.
Yep.
Kudos to the effects team on that one. And the ending shot is Lavinia and Robert admiring their newborn baby, which is implied to be like Anna's soul put into another body.
Yeah. And so then back at the store, Amelia finishes telling the story, and Jeffrey Combs decides that he really wants her ring and goes to attack her.
Yes.
And then we get a scene where like the lights flicker and they come back on, and there's a bunch of mall goths standing around.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, goth vampires. Hot Topic vampires.
And they all capture Jeffrey Combs, and Amelia reveals that the skull in Jeffrey Combs' shop is Amelia's twin sister. I want to say Ophelia.
Yes, it's Ophelia.
And she takes some of who Jeffrey Combs had murdered years ago, like last year, right about this time. And they like cut open his wrists and drain a bunch of blood, and then they cast some kind of ritual.
I mean, you gotta love when you got a good coven to back you up.
And then like the skull, the lights flicker, and the skull is replaced by like a pale naked woman.
Yes, a monster
with black eyes and fangs.
Consumes the rest of Jeffrey Combs.
Yep, she like opens her mouth, we see the fangs, and then we cut to black as Jeffrey Combs screams.
Yes. A fitting end to the crazy shopkeeper.
Yep. So let's do our minutia section now. Where do you want to start with, Jeff?
You You picked this time.
All right, let's start with
Christmas sweater.
I was gonna say let's start with Christmas sweater.
I read your mind. I'm also an evil shopkeeper with a magic ring.
Oh God. So I was gonna say Jeffrey Combs wears a pretty good suit. Jeffrey Combs looks
he
suave
looks
as
cool.
fuck.
He looks. I mean, he always looks cool, but he looks very cool in this.
Tom, the shitty guy at the job at Christmas
Yes.
Carnage, wears like a blue and black checkered suit that looks really nice.
That was cool. Trey, obviously, in Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, looking fresh as fuck.
Yeah.
Give me that fit, bro.
I was gonna say the effects on Ophelia,
Yes.
Amelia's sister. I think that looks really cool.
Yes, like we mentioned before, the puppet effects on the rabbi puppet were great.
And the rabbi puppet looks really creepy. I
So
love it.
fucking creepy.
And then
I mean, you could if you're not a fan of like the whole antique doll aesthetic, like the whole Annabelle thing, you're gonna be very creeped out.
and I'd say all of the effects are pretty solid. I mean, the dude who gets beheaded in Dollface and the guy who gets the bottle shoved in his mouth, both. I mean, those effects both look awesome.
Room to Let, the scythe beheading was good.
The all the murders in Christmas Carnage look really good. When he buries the hoe in the lady's head, that looks awesome. Because like she turns away and like the hoe's sticking out of her head and blood's just like draining down her face.
It's a hoedown.
But yeah, I think all of the effects look really solid.
Clearly, they did not have a very big budget for these shorts, but they put it into the effects, and it really shows.
Do you want to do Christmas Spirit? How Christmassy is the movie? How Christmassy are the kills?
Yes.
I kind of broke it up into what the kind of 4.5-ish plots are.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Dollface, not very Christmassy. Clearly, it's supposed to take place at Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
But I think if they had said it at Christmas time, I think it would have worked just fine.
It could have worked for Christmas, I'm sure. And I mean, it's lent a little bit of Christmas spirit just because it's the story of the mask is as a potential Christmas gift.
But like, I think it would have been cooler. Like, okay, the house, instead of like all the flashlights everywhere and stuff like that, if instead they, it's an abandoned house, they had strung up a bunch of Christmas lights around the house. I think that would have been a neater effect. I think it would have been really cool to have like the lights like Christmas lights flashing on and off, that variety. And like you see, Dollface, like you see an empty hall, the Christmas lights flash off, they flash on, and Dollface is standing there. I think that would have looked really cool.
That would have been solid. Yeah.
Would have, because it doesn't feel very Valentine's-y, other than the fact that they've just mentioned that it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So, Dollface, I mean, honestly, it kind of felt like they were just filling time with Dollface. It's like, it was like, ooh, what if this creepy mask had some lady who killed people? And that was pretty much the entire idea.
Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, other than it being mentioned that it's Hanukkah at the beginning, and it's like a little rabbi doll killing people.
It's as you know, it's illegal to be Jewish
in this movie. I don't know that they're in ornaments. I mean, we didn't establish what town this was in.
No, it's illegal. But, I mean, yeah, as far as, I mean, it's kind of, there's some holiday spirit to it just because it's taking place at Hanukkah, and the doll itself is a Hanukkah gift, so... But yeah, I mean, overall, the house is not decorated with anything, let alone Christmas decorations. Right. And there's nothing outside to imply that it's really Christmas time.
Christmas Carnage, clearly based off the name, the most Christmassy. I mean, a killer Santa is literally what the purpose of this whole podcast is.
At a Christmas party, too.
In Chris's house, there's a Christmas tree. There's a Christmas party going on.
The daughter asked to open Christmas presents, stuff like that.
Like, so. The one thing I would have liked to see is, the house, there's no Christmas lights on the outside of the house,
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know where it's supposed to take place. Maybe it's Ohio. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But, I would have liked to see some snow on the ground, something like that.
All I know is fuck Cleveland.
Fuck you and fuck Cleveland. Also a weird thing, I think the reason, certainly that they did like a killer Santa, and the reason we get so many of these killer Santas is like, I think, getting a Santa Claus costume is probably pretty easy and fairly cheap. So,
readily available. Doesn't take a whole lot to make it scary. Plus, there's just there's the general factor why Santa makes such a good killer is because he's supposed to be somebody that's good that you trust. Especially like when it relates to children.
And then, the room to let and the framing device. Room to let,
Not really Christmassy.
Not really Christmassy, but kind of made me think. There's that line where it's like, when Anna says something like, "When I was in town, it wasn't very Christmassy. There's no like trees or lights anywhere," and then Lavinia says like, "Well, we don't really celebrate Christmas here."
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of the H.P. Lovecraft. He has one Christmas story called like The Festival.
Yeah.
Which is like the closest he ever got to like a Christmas horror story. It kind of felt like that. Then the framing device itself. I mean, we get, it's the night before Christmas Eve. She's there to buy a Christmas present.
They at least make an effort to make the outside look like it could be winter.
And every scene we get old timey Christmas music playing in the shop, and I think that's really cool.
It does help the atmosphere quite a bit. But I'd say overall, if you take it short by short, really only the Christmas Carnage is Christmassy at all. And if you take it as a whole, I would say not very Christmassy.
No, I was gonna say like comparing it. It's something we're gonna do. Comparing it to 13 Sleighs, the last anthology we watched. Like just it doesn't touch. It can't really touch it. Like
not in Christmas spirit.
It's a fun movie, but it does not touch 13 Sleighs. Let's get into Christmas carols.
Indeed.
Favorite quotes.
There are so many.
So I have, kind of like last time, I have them broken down by what short they were in.
Okay.
So from Dollface, I have, "I'm going to heat up your panties tonight."
Yes. I picked that one too.
"You got to get those lashes plucked and you'll feel like the baddest bitch in town."
Yes. What, did you read my list?
"I wouldn't shit ya. You're my favorite turd."
Yes. Well, we've got pretty much identical for Dollface. It's almost like we think alike.
From Hand the Rocks the Dreidel.
One of my favorites that stuck out to me was that one you quoted earlier. "The art alone has to be worth a cool mill." It's like literally nothing on the walls anywhere.
Lisa says to the parents, she's like, "Have fun in Germany or Deutschland or whatever."
Yeah, or whatever. Trey is talking to the girl who's just got done blowing him, and he's like, "Get out of the car," and she's like, "You gotta give me a ride home." He's like, "Oh, just get out, you'll find a ride."
At the end, after the golem has killed Lisa and Trey, Kevin says, "Poor Lisa, poor Lisa's boyfriend. They shouldn't have tried to steal from us."
Yep, so great.
Any more from Dreidel?
No, that was Dreidel really didn't have a whole lot of memorable lines.
No, there were only a couple. Christmas Carnage though.
Oh, lots of good quotes in Christmas Carnage. I got fucked up for hours on these things and watched static on the TV.
Chris says to Susan towards the beginning, "Don't you miss it? Don't you miss making love?"
Yes. Oh, painful.
So cringy.
Painful. She's like, "Are you going to make a fool of yourself again tonight?" And he's like, "A fool?" Like, what? It's like, it's not ambiguous. She's calling you an idiot.
I've got a run of them while he's at the bar with the bar patron. Chris goes, "Tom got her some cock for Christmas."
Yes.
And then the bar patron goes, "God damn, cock? What the fuck?"
Yeah. Again, I zeroed in on that one too.
And then the line, "You don't know her, fuck you, and fuck Cleveland."
Yep. Solid lines all.
And then Chris's inner monologue says, "You're nothing but a 2-pump chump. No wonder she doesn't want your tiny dick."
Yep. Man, I honestly, Christmas Carnage has the most quotes and the best quotes. The 18 holes line to Tom with the nail gun was great.
Or all those punny kills, the bury the hatchet, don't be a buzzkill.
Yeah. I love the line when he's because of the workplace appropriate thing. He's like, "Mr. Donaldson, that's not workplace appropriate."
Yep. No, that one has some good ones. I didn't have any more.
The Room to Let really didn't have all that many memorable lines. I mean, honestly, the most memorable character is the lady with her tongue cut out that's trying to warn her to not be an idiot. Yes. Random noises. That was the best quote from that one.
And then, unfortunately, unlike 13 Sleighs, where we had all the bar patrons, arguing back and forth.
Yes.
Like, this is just Jeffrey Combs
monologuing, basically.
Mm-hmm. And so, we really don't get a lot of back and forth between Amelia and Jeffrey Combs' character.
Yeah, not really. They're kind of talking past each other for most of it. Which, I mean, when you find out why she's actually there, it makes more sense.
Mm. Broken Bold, Brilliant Bold?
Honestly...
One thing you would fix, one thing you would like to shout out?
Indeed. That is what it is.
Yeah, that is.
Yes. Broken Bulb for me would be, I really wish they could have got some more money together for this. I think it could have benefited from a little bit of extra money just to make like the sets and stuff a little bit better. But Brilliant Bulb honestly was the writing in Hand That Rocks the Dreidel and Christmas Carnage and the framing device, I think was all really solid. Jeffrey Combs delivers it really well, like his monologues for each of the items. And what does he play? The guy from Chris from Christmas Carnage.
Oh, Pete and Darman Gregg.
Yes, I'd say he's a good actor. I like him. Solid choice. As we said, the kid who played Kevin in Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, also very good.
My Broken Bulb is just the stories felt very uneven.
Mm-hmm.
You had some really good ones and like some really bad ones where
Yes,
like
you had some really good ones, and you had Dollface.
where it was hard, inversely, I once again I remember 13 Slays and like it was hard picking like one that was truly awful. Like they were all pretty good. When it's like two of these are really good, one of these is kind of meh, and one of these is pretty bad. Like, and I don't know that that's specifically anyone's fault. Yeah. Just very, very uneven on like the quality of how good these stories were.
You want to know something that's really funny? You hated the doll that comes to life in 13 Slays, but you love the doll that comes to life in this one.
True. That's wild. Brilliant Bulb. I think I want to shout out the monster effects and the gore effects. The Ophelia, Amelia's sister, looks really creepy. The puppet looks really cool. As much as I didn't like the doll face story, I thought it kind of a neat appearance. And then I loved, the multiple beheadings, all the fucking kills in Christmas Carnage looked great. Yeah. Even probably the most fakey was the ankle getting slit. Yeah. In Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, but like it didn't look terrible. Yeah. It just was probably the most fakey of them.
Kind of campy.
But like all the gore effects looked really awesome. Like I loved those. I loved the monster effects. They did a great job.
Very nice job.
Because it's an anthology, do you want to rank them worst to best?
Yes, let's rank them. Honestly, I would say probably my bottom one is going to have to be Dollface, and then Room to Let, and then I would say Christmas Carnage, and, well, honestly, I would say probably Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, number 2 for me, and Christmas Carnage, number 1.
That is number for number my exact same ranking.
Well... Isn't this awkward?
Well, Dollface was just, it was the weakest.
Yeah, by far.
Room to Let, if I think, and certainly because, you thought that like, it was more Harvest Festival themed. They could have shouted out more that it was a winter solstice thing. I think they could have made that more apparent. Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, I think if the set dressing had been a little better. Yeah,
it could have. It was vying for that number 1 spot, but didn't quite make it.
Where, I think Christmas Carnage had the best actor overall. I think it had the best kills, and had some of the best lines. Yeah. So let's kind of give it our final ranking, where we every one of these movies we rank on a category of You'll Be Sorry, Ho 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 Hilarious, or Seasonally Scary.
Indeed.
I can go first. It feels harsh to give this a You'll Be Sorry, but it's not scary, but and it's not as funny or fun as 13 Slays, but I guess in a way it kind of qualifies as Ho 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 Hilarious. Like the strength of Christmas Carnage and like some of the unintentional lines and some of the kills are pretty good and a little silly, and I think it does, certainly on the strength of a couple of these, I'm willing to give it like a very qualified Ho 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 Hilarious. There's there are 4 good movies here, even if they aren't fully realized, and I think a bit of budget, like you said, I think a bit more money could have made these all a lot more interesting. I think a fun idea for a double feature would honestly be to have watch this and 13 Slays, like watch 13 Slays and then watch this, and and it'd just be a fun thing to do with some friends, and kind of knock out 2 Christmas horror anthologies together. And I think that'd be kind of a blast, and it would make the unevenness a little less obvious because you've got kind of strong movies throughout.
True. Let's say if we were going to rate them individually, there would definitely be I would say a couple You'll Be Sorries in here, but if we're rating it overall, I would say Ho Ho Hilarious for me. It's got the strength of Christmas Carnage in Hand That Rocks the Dreidel kind of outweigh the weakness of the other two. And I mean, even there's things to enjoy in the other two, but overall they're kind of weak. And the framing device itself with Jeffrey Combs is interesting enough to carry it through. And so, yeah, I didn't really feel right giving it a You'll Be Sorry. It's definitely something you should check out. But I wouldn't say you're not going to be blown away by it.
Right. No, exactly. It's there are maybe, you know, don't like I kind of said, don't watch this by itself. But, you know, if you're going to put on this or A Christmas Horror Story when we get to it, or All the Creatures Were Stirring, watch a couple together and, you know, and have this be one of them. And I think kind of the strengths of this movie will shine, and, you know, and it'll be less obvious, or, you know, throw it on the background while you're doing something, and maybe it won't be as bad.
I didn't feel right giving it a You'll Be Sorry, so now we got to rank the villain.
Right.
And which villain are we going to pick?
I think we have to, I think...
It's got to be Amelia, right?
Oh, see, I was going to say the shopkeeper.
Oh, well, as I say, I mean, I guess he is a villain because he does try to murder her, but she also came planning to murder him.
Right,
so.
But he also murdered her sister, and she's there for revenge.
True. I mean, they're both evil. I don't know.
Right.
She's got a weird coven of like necromancers or whatever. So.
I was gonna say like, so my idea was to have Jeffrey Combs be our naughty list person. You know, he is kind of the villain of the story, and I was going to put him above the shopkeeper from Nutcracker Massacre.
Yes,
because he's clearly more dangerous and evil than...
I think he could take Nutcracker Massacre guy, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Like, by him, I would put the... Certainly, I would put the strength of this movie above the strengths of Nutcracker Massacre.
Yeah, Nutcracker Massacre is no, just no.
I hadn't even thought about putting Amelia on there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But yeah, when I thought to 13 Slays, we did the
bar patrons.
We did the bar patrons as opposed to the girl who comes in at the end and kills all of them.
Right.
And so that was kind of my same thought for this, was like, yes, at the end, like, Jeffrey Combs is dead, but it's...
Yes. Well, my whole thing was, yes, she did kill the shopkeeper for revenge, but she also killed him, resurrected her sister into some kind of weird monster with a coven of weirdos that she built up over the last couple of years, I guess.
Let's put them on the same level. We'll put Amelia, Ophelia, and Jeffrey Combs, and we'll rank them just above the shopkeeper from Nutcracker Massacre.
The weird trio from the framing device.
Yeah,
called them.
So yeah, they are certainly naughtier than
the shopkeeper. They're definitely naughtier than the weird, possibly German shopkeeper from Nutcracker Massacre,
who always has to wear that fedora. Also, strangely, Jeffrey Combs as a shopkeeper also walks out with a fedora, but he never puts it on because he knows it's a bad look.
He's enough of a gentleman not to wear it in public.
So every one of these episodes, we either shove a bunch of garbage in our mouths or clean out our email inbox and send an email to our deleted folder, our trash bin, in a segment we like to call
Garbage Day! Huh? No!
All right, and this Garbage Day email comes to us from Phil. And he writes, Hi, Jay and Jeff. I have heard you guys talk about wrestling and sports. What are some of your interests outside of horror movies? So yeah, I mean, multiple times we've been on here talking about wrestling.
Yes. we do talk about other things. Yep. That's true.
And then, you know, I've mentioned sports on more than one occasion. Yeah, Jeff and I think I'm a bigger wrestling fan than Jeff, but Jeff and I both like wrestling.
I like older wrestling.
Yep. Where I'm a big AEW guy. And then my favorite soccer, I like soccer and football. My favorite soccer team is West Ham United. My favorite football team is the Green Bay Packers. Jeff's favorite football team is the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes.
The dirty, dirty Raiders.
I love them. They just cheat so much. That's why I picked them. Apparently, I picked them because apparently you have to have one.
Right. That's kind of the reason I'm a Packers fan. Is growing up, I had some family friends that were Packers fans, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm a Packers fan." I don't know.
My wife is also a Packers fan.
Yeah, she's smart. But I mean, other than that, I know Jeff and I both like comic books.
I mean, we like comic books. We like, I mean, not just horror movies, all kinds of movies. We say usually. I mean, I know the most recent thing I've watched and enjoyed at the movie theater was Cocaine Bear. That's a solid movie. You should go see.
But I mean, Jeff's wedding was Lord of the Rings themed.
Yes, I'm a big Lord of the Rings. I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy, big Star Wars guy. Jay's medium Star Wars guy.
Yeah, I'm a medium. I'm like a high medium Star Wars guy.
I mean, yes, I know you guys can't see this through my microphone, but one of my Valentine's Day gifts was this Lord of the Rings phone case.
I saw that when you walked in. That's very cool. But yeah, I like comic books. I mean, I guess one of the other things Jeff and I have in common, certainly, as much as Jeff bitches about Canada, we both love Rush.
Oh, yes, that's true. Well, I consider Rush honorary American.
But yeah, other than that, I don't know. Like, I'm sure we'll mention more things that we're interested in as time goes by. If you follow us on Twitter, on more than one occasion, I've talked about Beta Ray Bill. He's my favorite superhero.
Oh man, you guys are going to hear a lot about Beta Ray Bill.
And speaking of our Twitter, we could be followed on Twitter at horror4holidays. Same with TikTok and Instagram and the Q app, which is where we got the idea to watch Holiday Hell. It's a app where you can kind of put in a list of movies, and like you can kind of spin a wheel and it will tell you what movie to watch next.
You spin the wheel and face the deal.
Yep. And so we found that easier than kind of humming around for an hour trying to pick a movie,
browsing through the streaming services.
So, follow us on those different social media accounts. We should probably maybe get something figured out for Facebook at some point in time.
I guess
in the future, maybe, I don't know. Something like that.
Well, the Horror for the Holidays Facebook group.
Beyond that,
follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/horror for the holidays. That's where I'll do audio backups of the episodes, and you can just go there if you don't want to listen to it on a podcasting platform.
Yep. Follow us on any of your podcatchers of choice. Downcast, Upcast, Sideways Cast, Backwards Cast,
Apple Podcast, Pearcast, Orange Cast,
all the casts,
all the fruits,
Stitcher, Stature, Stutcher,
Candlestick Maker,
Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker, all the podcast apps of choice.
Oh, and leave us reviews, 5-star reviews, and tell us how much we suck and you hate us.
Say, man, 5 stars. Why does Jay keep burping into the microphone? I'm sorry if you heard any of those. I'm going to try and edit all of them out.
Good luck. 5 stars. Jeff is fat. I can hear it in his voice.
I can hear the fat seeping through the microphones.
I can hear him breathing.
But yeah, other than that, get in touch with us those places. Make sure to shout us out to a friend. The best way to recommend a podcast or to get a podcast to be listened to is if you enjoy it, tell a friend. They will take your advice more than I think just about anyone else will.
Shoot us an email at horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com. The first fan who emails me, I will bring to my house to admire my ornate ring, and nothing else will happen.
But yeah, beyond that, we'll see you again in 2 weeks when the Q app will make another decision for us.
Oh, yes. The AI is taking over our lives.
Or, I don't know, or will it be time for St. Patrick's Day then?
It might be.
So maybe some kind of maniac cop will stop by the podcast.
That's ridiculous.
But yeah, other than that, we will see you again in 2 weeks, and thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.